Hi, this is Pizzawolf,
And I'm Tana Loving Cares.
and you're listening to the new season of Horngry for More, the only podcast by Feedists.
And for Feedists.
I'm hungry. I'm so hungry. Yeah, 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 I'm hungry.
So we're back,
Okay.
and as we have kind of teased before, we have changed up the format a little bit. It's going to be a lot shorter this time. And what we thought about when we were planning ahead, what kind of stories we want to cover, what kind of stuff we want to talk about, we thought it would be really, really fun to have basically keep changing a little bit, meaning that today I'm going to be kind of presenting one little topic that I found interesting about Feedism and that I just wanted to talk about with you, Pizzawolf. And then for the next episode, it's going to be the other way around. So
Yeah, next episode, you'll hear kind of something more from my perspective. Both of us went out, we sort of researched these on our own, and the other party is kind of processing it with the audience, and hopefully we can get some good conversation out of this. It seems like an interesting format. We shared our topics beforehand. I'm very interested to hear a little bit more about yours.
yeah, so I have kind of a nerdy topic, and I've told you more or less what it's about, and it's gonna be roughly about YouTube. But as I started researching into it and doing some notes and reading up on some stuff, I just, as usually, kind of found this rabbit hole that really fascinated me. And I hope you're not gonna.
Shocking.
The eye roll will be audible through the podcast,
No,
I'm
no.
sure. It's
No, that's
algorithms.
okay. Yeah, algorithms.
Algorithms. It's
Really
algorithms.
start this new season off with a bang, huh? Really, ooh, exciting.
So, but from more of a kind of psychological and human sciences kind of way. So I'm sure you have a bunch of lawyer stuff ready to go when it comes to algorithms. I'm so sure of that, and those are very interesting as well. But what I was thinking about is that the internet is built in such a way that it creates this little niches and hidden corners where people with enough curiosity can find like-minded people really easily. But at the
Sure.
same time, it kind of creates almost a kink bubble, something like that, meaning that if you dive deep enough, there's also kind of a lack of connectivity between very different sides of the internet in general, meaning that if you land on Fantasy Feeder, there's a reason you're on Fantasy Feeder, and you're not as likely to run into people who just were on their Facebook front page in one moment, follow the link, and they're on Fantasy Feeder. Stuff like that doesn't happen really. And
No, it really doesn't.
and that's the case with, I think, most feedism websites and community sites that we've been used to. But there's a thing called YouTube. I don't know if you've heard about it, but
I'm aware of YouTube, yes, but I
you've
thought
heard
it
of
was mainly for cat videos and watching people accidentally fall while skateboarding or something like that.
the whole
Astley
internet
videos.
is for
No.
cat videos.
Oh,
The whole
okay.
internet.
Okay.
But
All right.
so the cool thing about YouTube is, and it kind of sounds really boring and so obvious considering how much we're used to the Facebook algorithms and the targeted ads and stuff like that. But what's happening behind how very random people can just suddenly click through a few recommended videos or just any videos that happen to have a similar tag, and they'll run into some random feedism content because there's at least a small community who use YouTube exclusively to upload their videos, and some use it as a
Mm.
platform to then distribute the link on, let's say, Tumblr or Phoebe or Grammar and all the other sites, and some really just like to upload the videos and interact with people who choose to comment on it.
Like
And
through the comment feeds and through YouTube's direct messaging system,
Mhm.
I guess.
Well, that's
Okay.
the thing. It used to have a direct messaging system, but
Oh,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't even
anymore.
have it anymore?
It doesn't even
Wow.
have it
I'm
anymore.
I'm
You used
I'm
to be
behind the
able.
times on YouTube.
Yeah, and I wasn't even sure anymore. I had to check it as well because I definitely remember having messaged a few people and I just assumed it was still there. I'm just not using it. And it always used to be hidden. Like, not a lot of people used it, at least most people I knew didn't use it as much because it was always kind of hidden in submenus and not there. During a time when we didn't have like those instant notifications very
Mm.
easily available everywhere. So it used to be very hidden and it's gone now. So you used to be able to see who's actually following your channel and you can't anymore. Now you just see how many followers you have. You can still
Oh.
see the username of the people who comments your video, but it's like so easy to just make an anonymous YouTube account. It's quite easy to have it anonymous, but it's very interesting because on all those videos that you see, and you're mainly talking about some people have their own channel and they show progress videos of their weight gain, for example. Others have kind of stolen content, which is the not so nice side about it. Basically, like
Yeah.
ripped cam model videos being uploaded there, or having like
Or
slideshows
like
of people.
photo
Yeah,
slideshows. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
well, I mean, throughout the history of the community, video content was always, it was prized.
mm-hmm,
Every people in Feedism throughout whatever iteration always would like a good, video of before and after, trying on clothing or a rip of one of the even the goofy scenes from Willy Wonka and things like that. Those
yeah,
those were always things. And I think one of the things that is really interesting to me about your topic right now is that sidebar. After you watch the video, especially if you watch logged in,
mm-hmm,
you get suggestions for future videos. And what you
yeah,
said at the top of the episode, where we all kind of browse our niche website. So I might go to my Tumblr, then to Phoebe, then to I don't use Fantasy Feeder anymore, but but to any of the other sites. But I go because I have that's my personal algorithm, I guess. That's my
yeah.
internal algorithm. And there's
It's a
nothing
targeted
really.
one.
Yeah, there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
really to suggest new fetus content, cross-platform fetus content to you on those sites. And YouTube, not that they tried to do it, but luckily our kink is weird enough that the Google overlords who run YouTube don't recognize it as pornography.
Yeah.
They can really turn you on to a whole new world. I mean, you might come
Mm-hmm.
looking for the work of just one specific gainer.
Yeah.
And then thanks to these algorithms,
Your whole
which take into
sidebar is
account,
full of other videos
yeah,
of the same kind. Yeah.
and that's based on what you watch and what you
Mm-hmm.
have watched in the past. And if you're logged in, and it's definitely a dangerous situation, right? To log in with your Google account now that they link and there's cross, and I'd be a little bit worried.
I don't even want to go into the whole cross websites thing because I've heard some insane stuff from like really well researched and informed people that know a lot about this, and
Yeah.
you hear some scary stuff. And like, just because I mentioned algorithms, you on Facebook you can check. Also very hidden in the submenus, but I'm sure if you Google it, you can find the exact instruction of where it should be in your Facebook account. There's actually a page where you can look up estimation that the Facebook algorithm has made about you in terms of age, in terms of race, in terms of religion, in terms of political affiliation, and you can check if it's accurate. Sometimes it's creepily accurate, sometimes it's very weirdly, completely strange. But
Well, that's terrifying.
it is terrifying, yeah.
So
Because
let's focus then on the fat parts. I don't even want to think about that.
exactly,
Oh my goodness.
let's focus on
Yeah.
the fat parts, because that's the thing. We're not just talking about people developing a pattern of stuff they've seen and YouTube like magically figuring out the next thing they need to see is Feedism porn, but
Mhm.
even just the thing like in real life, you find out a lot of random facts and stuff that you usually forget within minutes, like really like surface level information. And if you go by what was it, Rule 34, if it exists, there's porn about it.
Yep.
Like almost anything has a kink related to it, and I think some of them are like, when it comes to associations, linked further away than, for example, Feedism, which is centered around food and eating, and something that's already very present on YouTube. If you want to go by the like all the Japanese models just
Mhm.
eating in front of the cams, which is a whole trend, and then the Twitch channel
Yeah,
that
there's
was created around
the
it.
It's the Korean practice mukbang, right?
Mukbang, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
it. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people reviewing food. There's like whole channels are centered around reviewing the new stuff that comes out at Burger King or at McDonald's. We're,
Oh,
by
I
the
got
way,
to
not
get on some
sponsored
of
by
those.
them.
Although if they want to sponsor us, I'm listening. I'll sell out right now. I have no scruples.
You don't even need the money. We'll get paid in burgers.
Yeah, and you send me your burgers.
I definitely send you my burgers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's been creepy before where I've occasionally seen targeted ads, like send me boxed stuffing product ads for a Thanksgiving stuffing, because someone out there, somewhere out there, they know my Google history, but they don't quite make the connection that I'm
stuffing 10 times
yeah,
now.
he's
What the hell?
really just keeps Googling stuffing, really like stovetop stuffing or oyster stuff. No, not quite that. But yeah, I mean we're a little bit far outside the mainstream.
Exactly.
And that's not particularly helpful for us. But on YouTube, I gather it's a little bit different.
Exactly, because it's also not as far away from mainstream as we think it is. And there's a bunch of videos, like just intersection, for example, we mentioned the fail videos and the cat videos, but if you want to talk about fail videos, there's compilations of like fat people fail videos and stuff like that. And you're gonna land on those, and that's maybe maybe two links away from being on a belly play video, stuff like that, because some of the people uploading them like the kind of humiliation and will put the same stuff in their tags, for example, or maybe it just triggers by fat and person or stuff like that. So it's very easy where in real life you would just, oh, that was interesting, and then you walk by and within minutes or even seconds you forgot about it and you never noticed there's a pattern or there's more behind that. On the internet, the algorithms, they save that kind of stuff and they'll point you into how to even deeper into this, how to dive even deeper in the whole subject, and they randomly find Feedism videos. And you also will find Feedist people commenting on really random cartoon stuff that other people might just watch because they're nostalgic about their childhood and want to watch their favorite cartoon again, and suddenly there's a Kingster in the comment section commenting something. So I find YouTube just incredibly interesting when it comes to how different the YouTube community has always seemed to be from all the other communities we are used to. Because, for example, I did discover the YouTube videos fairly early because I was drawn to the visual content of it, and I still love to watch them. I have tons of people I subscribe to and I check out once every other day or stuff like that. So I just watch and I like a video which is also anonymous. I follow the channel which is also anonymous.
Which is interesting, especially contrasting that with the level of participation you engage with the broader Feedism community. You're probably one of the most participatory members. You founded Horngry. We're doing this podcast right now. You have accounts on other sites, and you're an active poster. But YouTube, do you interact with people on comments, or do you leave comments, or are you just more of kind of a passive viewer of
not
this
really?
stuff?
No, I do. I upvote. Well, upvote is the Reddit thing. I like comments that that I like, basically. Every now and again, I don't know, sometimes there's just in YouTube videos, I follow a lot of channels of people just posting progresses, almost like vlogs. A lot of them will show their face, a lot of them will talk a bit, and most of the time they'll talk about they've noticed these kinds of changes and they like this about having gained weight, and details like that. And sometimes it will also cross into other parts of their personal lives, and whenever I do sense that, I don't know, something needs to be said and there's nothing in the comments that has already said that, then I will comment. But no, I mostly just watch. And I have contacted a few people completely outside of YouTube when I found them on Phoebe, for example, or on Grammar.
Sure.
And I've just shot them a message and maybe asked if they're interested in some Horngry participation or something, because I already know their content. So
yeah, let them know you love the videos, but you're more likely to do that on a non-YouTube platform.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, I think for me, YouTube was never made for that. So, like Phoebe, and I mean, there's a lot of people we've seen around the Feedism community in message boards and stuff like that, and you still never really interacted with them. And Phoebe kind of changed that to some extent.
And that's true. I think it's also in some ways that's a feature and not a bug.
Hmm.
We usually lean on, we want these things to be as participatory and connected and social networky as possible.
Yeah.
But we know that one of the big, and you certainly know as a woman in the
Hmm.
internet feedism sphere, the one of the big drawbacks is it's drinking from the fire hose. You are going to get a ton of social networking,
Yeah.
whether you want it or not, and it could very often take a form that you're not doing. And I know you and I personally talked about kind of that was the appeal of Tumblr when Tumblr's
Hmm.
messaging was less operative than it is now. When it was the mask and
That's a nice way to put it.
well, yeah, the ask and the note feature
Hmm.
instead of the live messenger client. It seems like
Yeah.
YouTube is now similar to that, where there are people who, where they slot themselves in. They want they like feedism content. They want to produce it. They want people to see it. They want people to know. They want to know that people have seen it. But they might want kind of more of a step of removal
Hmm.
from
There's definitely a lot of
interacting.
websites, especially for people who've always been, um, I don't know how to put it, but it's not just if you're a woman, but just if you're, some groups are just more concerned about their own private space within the community
Mhm.
because it gets violated so much when you're on kink websites. And so there's definitely for some people where having like a well thought out and perfect working and fast communication system worked into it is a con, not a pro. And I
Yeah,
think
it's a drawback,
it's a
sure.
drawback, yeah. And I think you see that also in on websites like DeviantArt, where there are also a lot of women, feedist women on DeviantArt who can
Hmm.
basically share the kink side of their lives because it's still something we can't shut off. It's something we do want to kind of interact and we wanna share that with other people. But yeah, it's wonderful if you can basically be to some extent private behind it. I'm not saying anonymous because I hate that, and I do think that anonymity brings a lot of bad sides to human interactions in general, on the internet especially, and I think anybody who's ever been on the internet knows that. But yeah, something about how superficial YouTube can be um, does show a completely different part of the feedism community. And I know you, for example, you've never really like thought about YouTube this way for a long time,
Yeah,
right?
it's for, and I couldn't tell you why offhand.
Hmm.
I certainly have enjoyed relevant feedist videos in the past. I don't have anything against the medium, but I don't know. Maybe there is something just more appealing to me intuitively about the more interactive community that because honestly Phoebe was a watershed moment for me.
Hmm.
I had been a member of Fantasy Feeder for the better part of a decade, but wasn't really as participatory on the forums. And then when Phoebe launched, maybe it was the newness of the platform. There wasn't a bunch of kind of established clicks or anything yet. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what it was,
Yeah.
but for some reason Phoebe seemed like the place for me to participate. And despite the occasional drawbacks of what the website becomes, it still seems to be where I'm most naturally drawn to spend my kinky feedist moments.
Hmm.
Yeah, rather than watching YouTube. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
definitely, and I totally get that, and yeah, interaction is also a huge part for me as well. Um, for me, well, for me, it would even be like the creative part first and then the communication second, which sounds horrible, but
Mhm.
I do live through those projects to some extent because it like pushes me to talk about stuff that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, and I can actually use stuff that I like to create, but like do something with my kink, which like something that isn't really out there, something that that I thought was missing, and now maybe it's not. But what we also have to remember, and I think we worked this out once, that how old are you again, if you want to say?
I'm 32, so
Okay.
yeah,
I'm
I think there's something to be said
Well, there's
there.
something to be said about you being 32 and I'm 26, which isn't that huge a gap,
Mhm.
but we've kind of worked out that we joined the Feedism community around the same time. So I know you're gonna hate that I bring this up, but you can calculate how old I was when I first started surfing.
Yeah,
Yep, and
I
it
mean,
even
at the
creeps
time,
me
you
out,
definitely don't want
but
to be participatory,
exactly,
as a
exactly.
minor. So
Mhm.
that makes more sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So I definitely was more of the lurker for a long
Hmm.
time, and because I had to, and because I knew it was better for me to be, and yeah, and maybe
Well,
that is something that helps the community as well, that they can just lurk
yeah.
on YouTube, and also people who really just randomly really enjoy watching people of videos of people eating topless, and they haven't figured out why, and they just have to hit a few more recommended videos until they figure it out.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's it. I mean, it seems like it's a common enough anecdotal story that I've certainly heard within the community of of people saying that they came to it through YouTube, which is kind of weird considering um, that's not the place to go when you want, like, if someone thinks they're a feedist, my guess is that they don't immediately go to YouTube and start looking at. You might just run a Google search and find these things more easily. I feel like
Yes, but I think
you probably pull more people in kind of through the back door where they just click through some
I
recommended videos. No.
I do think there are I do think there are more people who just see a lot of stuff and get a lot of ideas, and then they figure it out when they're alone, and then they sit down and they will Google like, I am attracted to this, what am I, like this kind of stuff. But there's also gonna be those people who just watch and are suddenly, why the fuck am I turned on by this? And
Yeah.
that's a yeah, I do think there's more people of the first kind, but yeah, I do think there's some people who will discover it through YouTube, especially considering that even even we aren't the generation who actually grew up with this kind of stuff. If you actually grow up on YouTube, we we remember a time when there was no YouTube, and there will be generations who won't remember this time, and they we're so much linked into visual video stuff because it's available in our pockets 24/7.
Yeah,
Um, that
and
I
even
yeah.
the the about 6.5 years of difference between you and I,
Mhm.
that's not nothing either in terms of tech time, and tech familiarity. In terms of when each of us got our first cell phones, and when I remember AOL dial-up CDs in the 90s,
I do
which is
remember
something that
those
you.
as well.
Oh, okay, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so. But I mean, I used them for years, so it's.
I saw them and then they magically went away. I wonder what
Yeah,
happened.
then they all vanished. But no, it's, and I have younger siblings, and although they never thought they'd be included on this podcast,
Oh my
you
god.
know, both no, both of them have kind of more fluency with certain types of tech in YouTube, and there are plenty of people who consume all their media via online streaming. We've talked about Twitch before,
Yep.
which is still a mystery to me how someone sits down and watches Let's Play streams for hours.
Gosh, you have
But
no idea what you're missing out.
I
No
know. Yeah,
idea.
you've never been more right, because I literally have no idea what I'm missing out on.
There
But
are let's
that's
plays of a certain game that I've watched from like 6 different people playing the same game just to see how differently they play it. Um, anyway, pet stuff.
yeah, okay. Make Pizzawolf feel old, season
Yeah,
2.
season 2.
No,
And
but yeah,
next
no.
episode it's gonna be the other way around.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
hopefully you're
we'll
not gonna
see.
make me feel old, but You'll find
I
something.
don't think so. We'll make both of ourselves feel young.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it's an interesting take on it because it operates in a way that seems really different from like sort of the dedicated searching for, so someone could be browsing fat people roller skating or or mukbang and there's a chance that they end up on a belly rubbing video and it could flip that switch in their brain and the celestial chorus could sound and the sky could open up and suddenly we've got another one of us on our hands. And there's just no analog outside of search engines themselves and dedicated searches. You're never going to browse Facebook and find a link to Phoebe. You're never going to do something similar that will steer your interest in that way. So in terms, I suppose, in a way, even though they're terrifying and control us, we owe some sort of debt to these algorithms. Well, I'm not going to pay them anything, but they make more feedists or to let more feedists know who they are. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, which, by the way, reminds me, this episode is on YouTube as well, so... I figured that anyone who's just randomly found this and has been listening for 20 minutes now, I think you know what you are.
You know what you are. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, tell us what the suggested videos are. Let us know. Yeah, what do we should work our tag game to try and like meta set this up so we can find the most popular YouTube tags and hop on them. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. So
we're not going to do that.
No, we're totally not going to do that. Yeah, but that was YouTube and kind of my little take on it, and maybe it sparked some ideas, some comments, stuff like that. Just shoot them our way. As always, you can find me as Tender Loving Cares on Phoebe, on Tumblr, and everywhere else. If you want to check like the official website where I have also the episodes of the podcast, as well as the magazines included. It's horngrymagazine.com. Yeah, and
I'm Pizzawolf. You can find me as Pizzawolf on Phoebe. That's basically where that's my seat for the internet feedism community. I've written some articles for Horngry, which you can find on TLC's website, Horngry Magazine. And you can also find through that link. They can also find links to the first season of Horngry for More, which is we have up on multiple platforms. We have SoundCloud and YouTube.
We're on SoundCloud on YouTube. I've uploaded them to Tumblr, and they're everywhere. Just not on Google Play. Not on Google Play yet, but we're working on it.
Not on Google. Well, I mean, YouTube is a Google product, so it's I don't know. We're working on it, but we'll get them in there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, then see you for the next episode, which is gonna be presented by Pizzawolf. So
it'll be fun. Okay, see you next time.